super secret location deep within the mountains of Colorado, it's time to strap up, strap in, or strap on with your host, Shenanigans in One Shot. It's From the Ashes Radio!
Bad news, folks. We're live. Sorry you had to be there. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to From the Ashes on About Face Radio. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you here. It's going to be a good one. You may have noticed we have an extra face on the couch of power this evening. That would be my good friend and a huge donor to our nonprofit, Dr. Tyler Gaines. Welcome to the super secret location, Doc. Glad you made it past all the security. I saw you struggle a little bit. Nathan Hucker says hello. What's up, dude? How you living, man? How's your day? Yeah. So,
security chief.
Yes, the chief.
I was flogged upon entering the door.
Not everybody makes it past, so well done to you.
Most people don't make it to the super secret location,
Which is exactly the point of the super secret location, which I'm a huge fan of. So yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You have to be granted access and all. Is this the way you want it? Did you want me to move?
You know what? This might be the first night ever
that I
don't need to adjust it. So my curiosity is it because you care more because the good doctor's here?
That's literally
or
what
is
it
because
is.
you care less when it's just me?
So
it's both?
Well, as I'm sure some of our listeners will point out, you have some hairy bubble gum that you must have sat in those shorts or something because it's sticking out here.
But you got to give the people what they want to see.
Let's see. Holly Miller is watching. Holly, I love that you're here every week. That really makes me happy. Sage Shelton is here. Appreciate it. Thanks for listening. Really appreciate you being a part of the show. Tonight we have Brandon Mancine, and I'm sure I'm butchering that last name, but we're going to talk about physical fitness in the veteran community, and which is kind of perfect because the doc being here, he is a chiropractor. Doc, how do you like the VA?
Oh, we're just ripping it off.
We are ripping the Band-Aid right off, Doc.
Oh my gosh. I just want everyone to know that here and now it is Tyler talking. So please, if you choose to be patient, do not take anything I say into the office. But God, they suck, man. It's so bad.
Wait, are you a VA chiro?
I work with the
Oh.
Fortunately to serve you guys, but unfortunately because fuck me, it's so bad.
That's awesome. Which is why we have him here, because we want, one of the problems is it takes so long to get, to get a referral from the Department of Veterans Affairs. Chiropractic care is great care for a lot of veterans that desperately need it. We, all kinds of back, hip, all kinds of different injuries. He's been doing some stuff with my neck that's been kind of crazy too. It's kind of cool. And it's such a pain in the ass to work through that system.
Yes.
So I was able to get seen by the doc, but they cut off the care. And so now, you
got to keep putting in the whatever evaluations to get to know.
And here's where I pass this off to you, Doc.
So Tyler, I got to ask you a question.
Yeah,
so I had 2 surgeries this year. I was supposed to start physical therapy within the first 2 weeks.
Oh, no.
Can you guess how long it took?
At least 2 months.
2 months?
At least. To start PT? Over 5? Oh, yeah.
Over 5.
I just got...
So, when you're talking about, how long it takes and how bad the timing is of the care. It's not even so much sometimes that the care is so bad.
Oh, yeah.
It's that getting to it is a fucking circus. And then it's a circus that runs way too long.
Well, I would hope that the care is excellent because
is excellent.
I'm not just saying this to blow smoke up everyone's ass, but truly, it's my honor to serve you guys, to serve their country. And I don't say that, like I said, I don't want to show up. I'm not just saying that. I truly mean it. I had a different veteran that I was serving, and I got on Tuesday morning, I got a rejection from a request for continued care that I sent out 3 months ago. And I got the rejection on Tuesday.
Yeah. That's the problem now. So again, I'm assuming you do community care.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I haven't gotten a rejection yet because I think I'm so far away from getting one of those. I'm sure I'll get one down the road. But yeah, it's the amount of time to get. They clearly say they're like, hey, you got about a year and a half of physical therapy for this, but we're going to give you 12 sessions. Okay. And then at like the 10th session, we get to ask for more, but it takes them 3 months to process it.
I looked in the camera and the doc is rubbing the tension out of his neck.
He's doing micro adjustments right now.
You guys, I'm getting so stressed even thinking about this. I had to call. Well, I was telling Rob before we went live. I have to call first thing tomorrow morning. I have to call the VA number one to see if I can get a hold of anyone and ask them why the hell they're sending referrals from my patients to a different clinic.
That's crazy.
Such
But
a
it also does not surprise me.
Well, but therein lies why it's such a problem is because, so you get, okay, my lower back hurts. If my lower back hurts, I need to be seen like that day, the day after, something, I need relief from what I've got going on. But again, what did it take to get a referral to you? Like 6 months or something like that? It was so silly. And the VA doesn't have their own chiropractors at the facilities, so you have to be seen on the outside, but they make it so challenging. So theoretically, I could have been walking around with this debilitating lower back pain and upper back pain for 6 months before you get to see somebody.
And you kind of were.
How does that help the veteran community? Don't be drinking my tea, Doc. Doc, why don't you pitch to the listening audience where you are, what you are, so people know how to find you and why you're sitting on our couch and things like that.
Okay.
You are more than welcome to press the goat at any point.
Yes, let's play some Taylor Swift and get that going.
That's what she sounds like.
Exactly.
Holy shit! You're about to get us canceled. Don't say things about
true.
Taylor.
That's true. She's making.
Hey, I am T Swift's next mistake, man. I get it. I totally get it. So, Doc, yes.
So I am a chiropractor in Castle Rock. My clinic is called Gaining Health Chiropractic. It is located literally right behind the Castle Rock for all you fine folks who are close to there. I'm here because I had the honor and privilege of getting to know and treating Mr. Rob. And he, for whatever reason, he likes me, and so here we are.
Well, I'm just a terrible judge of character is all it is, Doc.
Or he's a terrible judge of character.
Heidi Roswell is here tonight. Thank you, Heidi. Glad you're here. Very glad you're here. Welcome to the show. In just a little while, we're going to bring on Brandon. But in the meantime, Carl, do we have a Carl?
Holy crap. Well, I had a question for Doc first.
Okay.
Not just giving us where you're at and what you do. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us a little bit about the benefits of chiropractic for veterans and veteran common injuries and stuff?
That's why I keep him around.
Yes. The only reason
he's not just stunning good looks and short shorts.
Right. Hey. This is short shorts for me. Right. So a lot of veterans come out with a lot of really bad injuries. I mean, I'm sure everyone watching who has served has something going on. Rob, for example, has a lot going on in chiropractic care. Can really just take relieve all those stresses, take a lot of pressure off the nerves that are compressed, relieve muscle pain.
So, but I mean, I can go to jiu-jitsu and get stack passed, and I mean that cracks my back. Or I can have him just go upstairs and crack my back for me.
Thank you.
Or
I do take X-rays in my office, so I can see exactly what's wrong and then see the extent of past injury. So I can tell you exactly what to do to help the veterans and all my patients, really, to the best of my ability. To answer better for
cool. And Doc, did you know I'm also a chiro?
Oh, yeah. Yes, you are.
Do you crack cross back too?
No. Like I'm an actual chiropractor.
I don't know if you're messing with me or not.
You're not impressing you yet?
No, I don't know if you're messing with me.
My mom is a chiropractor, which basically means I'm a chiropractor. Oh, okay. Right?
Yeah, by de facto.
Is your mom actually a chiropractor?
Yes, she is.
That's great. Where's she practice?
St. Louis.
Nice.
So, she went to she actually moved to St. Louis to go to Cracky School.
Logan.
Yep, she went to Logan. She even taught there a little bit. Yeah, the Cracky School. I'm a huge chiro supporter, so none of it is me like cracking jokes at you. I am a huge chiropractic supporter. Go at least once a week. I take that back. I usually go once a week because I'm usually all fucking twisted up. I need to be slightly untwisted. So I wish they did mental health too that way. So
I would call it mental health. Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway,
hey, I always walk out of there in a better mood. So yeah, and that table you have that does the
roller.
Oh my god! I mean, it's never long enough, but that's just my opinion. But hey, whatever, man.
I think you're.
That's because you're only paying VA money. You got to slip them a little more on the side.
Well, and it's a huge help. There's no joke. It is absolutely a huge help. That you can't get through a regular doctor is not going to, a DO or an MD is not going to manipulate you in the same way that like do that things you do with my ears and the things you do with my neck and whatnot. You're not going to get that anywhere but a chiropractor. So I think it's a huge help. That's
Also,
just
I feel like I care. Like you come in and say, "I'm dying. What can you do to help me?" I
literal words.
I seriously, I hear that and I say, "Okay, where like show me what you do, blah blah blah," and then like I listen. I do my best to help you. Yeah.
What is the ear thing that you do?
It's called auriculotherapy. It's just this little like pin thing that runs electricity through acupuncture points in your ear, which just opens the door for channels to help with healing. So it's acupuncture without puncturing anything.
That's one of my quiet down over there. Jeez.
Careful, they'll all come over here and gang up on you.
Yeah. The red one was kicking the shit out of the other ones just a few minutes ago. It was awesome to watch.
45?
Yeah.
It's orange, not red.
I'm sorry, 45. I love that.
Don't offend my cat. I'm keeping that one.
Well, and as we have expressed to you, Doc, so I am running for president in 2024.
We haven't talked about this. We haven't reminded the people.
Oh, I'm sorry. For those that don't know, yes, I am running for president in 2024 of the United States, not of anything else.
And no, for those of you that might have assumed I would be the VP, he told me no, he won't take me as his VP.
No, you have a much more important role.
Secretary of Defense.
Secretary of Defense. We're running on a very limited platform. Oh, Rob, what are your budget ideas? I don't know. Oh, Rob, what's your foreign policy? Kill them all. I have no idea. But our policies are on day one, we will abolish the Department of Veterans Affairs. It will be one guy in a basement with a red stapler. Mm-hmm. We're going to fix the pay problem and hope the rest of it sorts itself out.
Good.
We're going to legalize lane splitting for motorcycles.
Mm-hmm.
That's on a national level. And you want to take that last talking point?
I will totally take the last one.
I thought you might.
I have to add to it. We are going to do public executions for pedophiles, child molesters, and violators of stolen valor. And not only are we going to, execute them, we're going to do it publicly by a firing squad. Sell tickets to the motherfucker, and we're going to auction off the bullets, put your name on it, all sorts of great stuff. So,
and it'll be at the halftime at the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Yes. So live and televised. So yes, and you can purchase a bullet with the offender's name on it. It will be an auction. Don't you worry. It's not. This shit ain't free.
We'll have the team's logo on it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. About face media on the right there.
Awesome. Maybe Denver Broncos sponsor one of the rounds.
There's no question.
You never know.
There is absolutely no
We're
question.
We're talking paying off the national debt here very quickly.
I agree completely.
Just one event once a year.
I love everything we're doing. So vote Williams in 2024. It's going to be an excellent campaign. I'm really looking forward to it. We had a couple other people. So you're Secretary of Defense. Who else did we decide?
Surgeon General.
You want to be Surgeon General?
I don't know if I want that pressure.
What pressure?
I could do worse than the guy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what pressure is there? I mean, basically, you're like, hey, every VA claim, chunk approved. Yes. Next question. I'm going to get you a giant rubber stamp.
This is approved?
All it's going to say is approved. I'm going to take one that says disapproved, and I'm going to lock it in a safe. And I will have the only code. It will be carried around with the nuclear football.
Nice.
And you will have to, I can only think of 2 people that will ever get the disapproved stamp. You have to have earned your Purple Heart, and it has to be on your DD-214. So, yes. But yeah, congratulations.
You're going to have way worse things to worry about if, the third thing gets enacted.
Yes, I agree completely.
Bigger things
than my giant rubber stamp.
Decline.
Well, the disapproved stamp is only going to be it's going to be very small, but the approved stamp is going to be, he's going to need 2 hands to hold it.
Oh.
So yeah, it'll be a big stamp. So
I like it.
Congratulations. You're now part of the cabinet. So all we got to do now is get elected, which I see that as a small obstacle. I'm not concerned about that at all.
Are you ready for Carl?
You make it quick because our guest is in the green room looking at me. He looks impatient too.
He can jump in and talk about
all right, well,
we can do that.
I'll bring him on and he can talk about Carl with us. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, my homeboy, Brandon. Brandon, how the heck are you? Fellas? Better than I deserve.
I have no idea.
Well, we talk a lot. So we're about to do our segment, Private Carl. So you get to weigh in on Private Carl as well.
Let's do it.
So, New York Post, middle schooler allowed to display "Don't Tread on Me" patch after mom accuses school of violating his First Amendment rights. But first, This was in a Colorado school. I feel like we're fucking California #2 now.
Yeah,
And I watched
Eastern California.
I watched a lot of videos on this. So, a 12-year-old Vanguard student, Jane Rodriguez, was ordered to remove his "Don't Tread on Me" flag on his backpack. And mom fought back. Parents are fighting back. And I see a video of him in the office, and he's like, there was a school administrator of some sort, and said that the problem is the flag reflects a state of or something with racism. And the kid is clearly intelligent, 12-year-old. He's like, actually, the "Don't Tread Me" is from the Revolutionary War about freedom. And the mom's like, maybe you're confusing the argument about the Confederate flag. This is the "Don't Tread on Me." It's about freedom. It has nothing to do with anything racial whatsoever. She's like, well, it's a disruption in the classroom. We just like you to at the school keep things, inside the school. And the kid's like, there's all these different stuff where like the kid's like, hey, there's all these other ones that are allowed, but not my "Don't Tread on Me." So anyway, in the end, he was allowed to get it. But what I really liked about the kid, because the school administrator that was like, blah, 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 we're not trying to bring all this stuff into school. He goes into the staff parking lot and snaps a picture of the back of her fucking car. And it is just littered with like stuff.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Like, what is it? The coexist bumper stickers and
Dude,
vote Hillary in 2024 and
just littered.
Down with Williams 2024.
So, clearly it's not just an infringement on your rights. It's something where people are trying to get rid of anybody else's opinion. And if it doesn't align with theirs, it can't be part of a school. If it doesn't align with them, it can't be part of, this or that. And it's fucking disturbing.
Brandon, what branch of service were you?
Marine Corps.
So didn't the Navy, didn't they have, wasn't it part of their uniform where they had, it wasn't a "Don't Tread on Me," but it was something similar. They had a snake and a patch that they used to wear in their greens or some shit like that. You ever see that?
Not that I'm aware of.
So I had a bunch of Navy friends, and I believe they flew that flag over on the Navy ships. Correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong. If anybody in the Navy is listening right now, correct me on any of this that I have incorrectly, folks. But I believe they flew.
I'm sure it's been flown. I'm sure it's been flown on a ship or two. I'm sure of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever. And I wonder if the kid had put a hammer and sickle patch on his backpack, if he would have been told that he couldn't have that.
They probably would have known what it was.
I mean, that's probably also accurate.
I think the biggest issue that was evident to me was that she was wanting to cast it out without being sure of what it was. Right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's not a model. That's not a model for education at all. Right? And when she was corrected, she wouldn't yield. When she was told it has no representation of slavery. Well, I don't want to see it. You're supposed to be a model of education for these kids. That is completely juxtaposed to whatever your personal beliefs are. Completely juxtaposed to what you're supposed to model for these kids. So that was the biggest issue with free thinking. Exactly.
And that is what we're all about here, unless you're a pedophile, in which case you'll be executed at the Super Bowl. So, but yeah, or stolen valor. But hey, that's a whole other story. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to meet my friend Brandon Mancine. Am I saying that correctly? I feel like I've butchered your last name.
Mancini. That's all right. The drill instructors in boot camp had a lot of fun with it.
I was so close. I was so close. You did. I don't know if you could hear him. He's like, "Mancini, asshole." So yeah.
That's what the drill instructors would call me. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad you're here tonight. First of all, thank you for taking time from your Labor Day to be a part of the show. It means a lot to us. We also have brought one of our favorite people, Dr. Tyler Gaines, is a chiropractor. So having you two both on the show at the same time, super cool. So Brandon, let's start at the beginning. Tell us about your military service.
Sure. So machine gunner, 0331 was my primary MOS. Served with Fast Company out of Norfolk, Virginia. Got to do all kinds of great things with them. Then went to Kilo 32 down in Lejeune. Got to go to Japan with them. Again, great time. This was in the late 90s. So I was in 96 to 2000. So I don't know. Am I the old man on the podcast?
49, 23, and
Okay.
28.
yeah.
46. All right. I'm somewhere in the middle there. All right. But got into personal training and coaching shortly after that. I've been doing that since 2001. It is my full-time gig. It's not a side hustle. It is my profession. Been doing it for over 20 years now. Based out of San Antonio, Texas. But yeah, that's the summary right there. The quick down and dirty.
Well, San Antonio, Texas, that is a huge military community. So you are in just the right spot. I lived in Selma for like 4 years. So yeah, great place.
Nice.
Yeah, I like it down there.
How's the weather been?
Little on the hot side. That's all right. We spent the Labor Day down in Port Aransas, and it was beautiful. Cooled off just a little bit down there, but yeah, I mean, if you're complaining about the heat and you live in San Antonio, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, it's South Texas, man. It's going to be hot.
That's why I didn't survive, man. I had to get back to Colorado as quick as possible. I totally get it, man. I totally get it. People that live there. I remember one time walking through the motor pool and my boots were starting to get slippery because the soles were melting. And I was like, I can't live here.
So I grew up in Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah.
So I grew up knowing I didn't like the cold. I remember when I was in the Middle East thinking, at least I'm not shoveling snow, right? There was, at least, I would rather be sweating than freezing.
Well, so we've had you. First of all, I love that we connected, and I love what you're doing. We connected on social media. Let's talk about last week we had on Josh with Consequence of Habit, and he talked about how we develop these habits in the military, and sometimes we lose them as we exit the military. We kind of, we stop getting up every morning at 5 a.m. for PT and things like that. And it was kind of perfect that your appearance on the show fits right after Josh's. Talk to us about the veteran community, physical fitness, things like that.
Well, I could tell you my personal story right there. Being in the infantry, having served with the unit like fast, my 4 years was pretty hard on my body, right? So when I got out, I was 24 years old, and it was harder to PT because one, no one's making you do it, but also again, my body was just beat up. But we had me and a buddy were in together. We ended up getting an apartment in Norfolk, and I remember staring at the mirror one time after about being out like 2-3 weeks, holding a beer and being like, I'm doing all right. I'm maintaining my fitness. And then about 6 months later, I'm definitely going to date myself here. We had a party, and I had to get the pictures of the party developed, right? That's something people today don't understand. Wow. But we had the disposable cameras, got the pictures developed. A few days later, I'm flipping through these pictures, and there was a picture of a fat guy without a shirt on and a jester hat, kind of like I was wearing, pouring beer out of the keg. And I was like, who's the fat ass? And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. So I went and got a job swiping cards at the YMCA and started working out there. And I couldn't run like 50 yards without, my knees just, it wouldn't happen. And there was a trainer who worked there who came from a military family, came from a Marine Corps family, started talking to him. And he really was the first person to teach me about exercise as a regenerative practice. So that's part of what inspired me to get into coaching. When I, found out like I could exercise to strengthen my body, not just the muscles, right? But I could get back to the point where I could run again. And within a few months, I was running 3 or more miles. So first and foremost, an understanding of what exercise is. It is not beating up on your body in that hour. It is using that hour to build your body so that you are more useful the other 23 hours in the day and beyond, right? And then, so that's right now in that moment, in that workout, but then the other end of it, right? What is your purpose? For me right now, I've had different ones over the years. At 46 years old, at 40 is when I decided I was going to start having kids. So I have a 4-year-old son and a 2-year-old daughter right now, and they're amazing. But when they're in their late teens, early 20s, I'm going to be in my mid 60s. And my big goal, I'll have process goals along the way, but my big goal right now is at that point, I want to go on some sort of adventure of their choosing with them. That could be hike the Grand Canyon, climb Kilimanjaro, hike the Appalachian Trail, whatever, skydiving. I need to be able to do that in my mid 60s if that's what they want to do. And if I'm going to be ready for that, I have to be training for it now, right? So that's mine, but that's the ultimate thing, is the big picture purpose of what are you training for? What are you training to serve? What ideal are you training to serve? Obviously, in the military, we have that. But if you don't, it's really hard to get out of that comfy bed and jump into the uncomfortable workout.
So, yes, and I like that long-term goal of being able to participate with the kids and stuff. But for me, what I discovered is if I get up at 5 a.m., hit the gym 5:30 to 6:30, I have a sense of accomplishment. I have done something for the day. I have conquered the day. There's no other way for me to say it. And the rest of the day is just extra. And I have accomplished something for that day that, to be honest, I mean, makes me a part of a man. And you know, the add-on is physical fitness. I have a friend that hosts a radio show who was in a boxing match one time, and he knocked this motherfucker out. It was awesome to watch. But when he was all done, he stole the microphone from the announcer and was like, and went right to the veteran community. He's like, if you are a veteran and you can hear my voice, he's like, find something every day. Find something and attack it and make it your passion. And I decided, hey, I want to have a radio show with that guy one day. And I'm hoping that someday that happens. But in the meantime, I'll stay here with Seth instead. But yeah, it meant a lot at that time. I mean, like, moist in the eyes. It was an impassioned speech. It was kind of cool. So
yeah,
that's just me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I gave that example of the long-term goal. And I'm sure if we dug in, Rob, you've probably got something like that. But yeah, like I said, I think I mentioned in their process goals along the way.
You did.
I've achieved I was a boxer when I was younger. That was something that kept me, before I had kids, before I had that purpose, I used to train for that. And I was supposed to fight in a charity boxing match a few years ago. But long story short, USA Boxing is as corrupt an organization as there is out there. So it got shut down for BS reasons. But next year, I'm looking to do at least one Spartan race. My wife has run them with me before. I think I'm gonna try to get her to do one or two, maybe three. We can do the trifecta if I can convince her to do that with me. But yeah, stuff like that is essential. 100% agree.
But I'm down. I'm all the way down. USA Boxing?
Dude, USA Boxing is fucking corrupt.
Really?
Pieces.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I would have not known this if not for you two. I had no idea. Is the organization gone now? Did you say that?
No, not at all.
It still exists?
No, they're still. As a matter of fact, I haven't seen an update of this recently, but I think the next Olympics are the last Olympics that will have boxing as a sport represented. In part because of USA Boxing's bullshit.
I think they might be pulling or making some major changes, but it's going to end up still having boxing, I think. But yeah, USA Boxing, just like the organization as a whole, they're kind of like the Better Business Bureau.
Thanks for the money.
Right. Like, if you give me some
thanks for the money
back on the wall,
give me some more.
We'll put it, if you give me some more money, I'll put your good reviews up and delete your bad ones. Like, they're just like, where like what you think they are has nothing to do with what they are.
So you're telling me Mayweather Pacquiao was fixed?
Oh my God. Don't get me started on Mayweather.
One of our listeners and also the boss man, Randy Almquist, says, let's ruck 50 miles. Hey, I'm down, Randy. Let's get started. I'm absolutely down. It's so weird that when you were in the military and you had that ruck on your back and the helmet on your head and the rifle in your hands, and you're walking up that dirt road and you're like, when I get out of the Army, I will never fucking ruck again and no one will make me. And now here I am out of the Army and I ruck every Thursday. Thursday? Yeah, Thursday is my ruck day. So yeah, same day. I get it.
I remember I preach this so much about, like, when you get out, don't forget what you are, right? Just because you're not an active soldier doesn't mean you're not still a soldier. Okay, doesn't mean you have to embody everything, but like some of the things that made you successful as a soldier, as a person, you should keep. And so I didn't get fat, grow a beard, fucking yell at the TV over politics. Oh shit.
Anyway,
I still woke up early. I continued to be a healthy person in a lot of different ways. I kept a lot of it. The one thing I did say is I am never putting a fucking ruck on my back and fucking rucking again. And I swear to God, I haven't done it. If I ruck, it's because I had to go somewhere.
The car broke down and I had a backpack in the back.
Yeah.
That's
terrible.
Awesome. Do you ruck it all, Doc?
Definitely not. I do. So I want to go backpacking for like a weekend, which I know is not the same thing, but I do want to do that. My goal is to be able to go, like, just park my shit in my backpack, go somewhere, be able to build like a shelter, and just survive for a weekend.
Other than jumping up and down on my back once a week, what is it that you do for physical fitness?
I go. So
Brandon laughed.
That's a great question.
What does I do for physical fitness? Nothing. No, I'm just kidding.
That's a lie.
So believe it or not, what year? It's 2023 now. So in 2016, I was about 235, and I'm like 6'1" right now. And this morning I was 172. So about 5 years ago. Is that 5 years? I'm not good at math. Damn it, I'm a doctor.
Shouldn't a doctor be good at math?
If I have a calculator.
How do you calculate my bill?
the calculator does it for me. No, so I was about 60 pounds, 70 pounds heavier, and I had stopped going to the gym. I had stopped being active, and now my wife and I, we get up and we walk our dogs every morning for about a mile. At the end of every shift, I go straight to the gym, and that's something that I keep very sacred. I don't miss that. I don't miss an evening unless there's something like I have a business meeting going on or whatever. I'll make sure I go to the gym. Rarely do I miss that. So that's what I do.
Brandon, people are listening and they want to access what it is that you have. How can people access you as a personal trainer? How do they reach out to you and be like, hey man, can you hook a brother up? I want to get back into my physical fitness. Can you help me?
Yeah. Instagram is the best way to get a hold of me. 2 accounts there, Coach Brandon Mancini, all one word. Brandon Mancini Fitness is my company. So the other account I use, which is much easier to spell, is BMF Coach. Find me there. You message me there. I post tips about fitness, nutrition, all that good stuff. I mean, I'll post workouts occasionally, but a lot of answering questions in the comment section of my posts and all that good stuff. Yeah.
So, like, say, for example, that somebody's listening right now and they're like, hey, I can't even get started. Like you said, I can't run 50 yards. What's the best way for them to get started back on that path?
So if you're in a position where you don't know where to start, it hurts to move, getting with a professional is the best way to do it. And I would say if you're in that position where joints are hurting when you're doing certain movement, in-person coaching is going to be the best way, because you have to be, and I'm sure Doc can speak to this as well. If somebody's having movement problems, you have to be able to assess in 3D what's going on.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely agree.
Not saying you have to be there every single workout, right? So I have some people that I just meet with once a week, but that in-person guidance is there. Now, if you're somebody, so like I ran a course for dads, a 12-week course for dads over the summer. And I did have somebody in there who had never worked out before, but had been in a manual labor job. So like he understood how to work with external load, right? So, at the end of it, the people who had been working out and the guy who hadn't were all like, it was good to learn how to progress exercise, not just put 5 more pounds on the bar or a little heavier dumbbells or a little bit more weight on the machine, but how to change up load parameters. I don't want to get too far in the weeds, but getting somebody to guide you along the way. I had a client one time refer to me as a fitness Sherpa, and I think that can be a good analogy. So
I like, that's awesome. What are your thoughts on things like the the organizations, like Wounded Warrior Project will have like a 21-day fitness challenge to kind of get things started again, that kind of stuff. Or Team Red, White, and Blue, like a 5K challenge or something to that extent. What are your thoughts on the challenges? I know some coaches despise those things because they're like, okay, you did it for 21 days. Well, now what?
Then what? Right. So that's a good. That's why I come back to that like lifelong goal. When I first started in training, I would sit down and I was like, again, having been taught how regenerative exercise can be and understanding that most people think I'm just going to kick my ass this hour, right? I would sit down and I would tell people, what type of old person do you want to be? And I was working in a big box gym, a Lifetime Fitness, if you guys are familiar. And my manager sat in on one of my consultations. He was like, you can't say that to people. Like, people don't want to speaking. And I guess there was something to what he was saying, but he was saying people don't want to think of themselves as old. If you want somebody to buy a personal training package from you, don't get them imagining themselves being old. But fuck, being old is one of the best things that can happen to you, right? Because the alternative is not, right? So I will come back to that and just say, imagine you're 90. And I will use this story of my great-grandmother who would walk every day. Walking works wonders. If I have a client who's in a strength training program, I have 2 clients in a strength training program, and one of them is doing the walk-in I assign and one isn't. The one that's doing the walk-in is going to outperform the other head and shoulders. Walking works wonders. So my great-grandmother would walk every day, and she was on the phone with my mom one day. I was much younger, and I remember hearing my mom go, "Oh, Grandma, no," because she was telling the story about how she was walking and she saw a young woman jogging, and she said, "I wonder if I can still run." So she just did. She just started running to see if she could, and lo and behold, she did. That's the type of old person I want to be. When you see a 90-year-old just running down the street, you're like, what the hell is that?
I love it. That's awesome. Your mom's badass, or your grandmom's badass. That's kind of awesome.
There are a long line of badass ladies.
You asked me what I did earlier. So a couple of summers ago, I did 75 hard. If anyone does not know what 75 hard is, it's a quick Google.
You got time? Tell us about it. Tell us what 75 hard is.
Well, it's a program pinned by a guy named Andy Frisella. This 6 things. You have to exercise for 45 minutes outside. Exercise for 9 minutes total, but 45 minutes of it has to be outside. You have to read 10 pages of the book every day. You have to drink a gallon of water. No alcohol.
No sugar.
You have to pick a diet. It's just you have to pick a diet. At least that's the version I did. So I did 75 medium really, and then you have to take a picture every day. And so we were talking about, you do the New Year's resolutions, challenges, whatever. Where does that go from? That's where I picked up the walking every morning. Was I just said hard, and we walk every morning. I haven't missed one unless it's like dumping snow on me. I'm not doing that.
So I think Andy Frisella is awesome. And I think a lot of people have got a lot out of 75 hard, but before 75 hard was a thing, I've long had this saying that 2-a-days are for 2 types of people: world champions and idiots. Because if you're a world champion, if you're a professional athlete, then yeah, when I was boxing competitively, I was working out 2 or 3 times a day. But the workouts were complementary. I wasn't doing the same workout, right? So I would have my strength, I would have my conditioning, and then I might have some sparring that day. But what most people do when they do 2-a-days is they just do the same workout. Like they'll go to, a common one I see is they'll go to a CrossFit box and do the WOD in the morning and then go do the WOD again in the evening. And it's your body isn't stronger at the end of the workout, right? It's broken down a bit. It gets stronger during the rest period if you eat well and if you rest well. So that's what I mean when I say 2-a-days are for world champions and idiots. Right? It's how you apply them. It can be intelligently done. But as a 46-year-old father of 2 who owns 2 businesses, I don't have time for that. I don't know if you guys do. I think an intelligently designed program can get you a great workout, once a day, 3 to 6, maybe 7 days a week if you want to do that. But it should be serving you in other areas. So when I sit down and I talk about when I'm in a consult with a potential client, and I'll ask them what their commitment level is on a scale of 1 to 10. What is your commitment level to your physical fitness goals? When they say 10, I'm like, awesome. Here's what we're going to do. I need you to quit your job. You're not going to talk to family or friends. I'm going to put a tent in my backyard. You're going to grow your fruits and vegetables back there, and that's where you're going to eat them, and you're going to live there, right? And they start to go, oh, okay. Because we're not, again, unless you're a professional athlete, I'm not a 10 to my health and fitness goals. I'm a 10 to my family, right? I'm a 10 to producing for them so they have a roof over their head. And the prime example I'll give for that, when my daughter was 3 months old, she had RSV. So we had to take her into the hospital, right? And I don't know if you guys have ever had a child deal with that at that age. They have no concept of what's happening, but every half an hour they come in and they do this horrible treatment and she screams the whole time. We were in there for about 45 hours. Now, if I'm a 10 to my health and fitness, in the middle of that, when my wife is there with my daughter, not leaving her for 48 hours, and be like, hey, babe, I got to go get my workout. Cool? No way, right? My workouts I've done in the years leading up to that made me physically prepared to deal with whatever was coming there, with the lack of sleep, with running back and forth, bringing food to everybody, making sure my son was taken care of with the grandparents and my wife was taken care of with my daughter. That's why I'm a 8.59 to my health and fitness goals. And I think it's important to lay out what that realistically means, because if you say you're a 10 and then something comes up and you have to go into work. Now, if a boss calls you in, can you please do this? You don't have to. But if you have to go into work or you have to get ready for somebody and you miss a workout, if you've told yourself it's a 10, you're viewing it as failure and it becomes all or nothing, right? But if you view it as an 8.59 to make you better at serving those things, which are the true 10s in your life, then you can view it as an adaptable program that you can follow.
Tell us your thoughts on nutrition.
Man, I could go off that.
Yeah. Our veteran brethren struggle. A lot of them are like, eat something, so I'll get the chicken sandwich at Sonic instead of the double cheeseburger.
Yeah. So let's talk. I think the easiest thing to address here is talk about processed food, right? And because to your example, when we were in our late teens, early 20s, even into our later 20s, it's easy to do that, right? Especially when somebody's going to make you get up at 4:30 in the morning and run, and do calisthenics or whatever. It's easier to get away with that if somebody's making you and you're younger and you don't have commitments like you got to go watch the kids at whatever sport they're engaged in. It's easier to get away with eating those ultra processed foods. So let's talk about what food processing means. If I go and let's talk about minimal processed. I go kill a deer with my bow. I hack a piece of meat off that deer and cook it over the fire and eat it. That is a process I've taken that food through. If I grow something in my backyard, I pick it off the vine and I cook it. That is a process I've taken that food through, and that's minimally processed. Now, if we take that a little bit further, we buy our meats from CSA, Community Supported Agriculture. So that farmer has grown that food. He has taken it through a process, but he himself delivers it to my house and helps me load it in my freezer, right? Go a little further, I buy, organic grass-fed meat from the grocery store and get my produce there. I go a little bit further and I'm eating farm to table at a restaurant. I go a little bit further down that line and further and further and further until I am at the drive-thru. And this is where I can't remember where I first heard this, but I've been saying this for at least 6, maybe 7 years, that a lot of people aren't eating food. They're eating food-like product, right? So if we use a lot of the cheese that people buy is as much, if not more, plastic than it is cheese. When you buy cheese in the store, look and see if it says cheese or if it says cheese product, right? That's a prime example I can show to people. But a lot of the foods we're picking up, we're not on the food products food-like products we're picking up were not on the shelves 50, 100 years ago, right? So that has a dramatic impact on people's health, because there's no truer statement, no statement more true than you are what you eat, right? And so a prime example I can give to this is in January of 2022, my mom lost 30 pounds in 30 days. Now, when I say that, people will say, oh, that's not healthy to do. Well, it's a year and a half later now, and she's down 60 pounds total. She works out 6 days a week. What happened was she had an actual lifestyle change. She was able to quit her job, which she was a workaholic. She moved halfway across the country, moved in with my wife and I, went from having 0 home-cooked meals, always eating at restaurants because her job had her in that position, always in business meetings, eating on the go, eating processed foods, no activity, to coming down here, had her start walking. Again, walking works wonders. Had her eating only the food my wife cooks. She was never hungry. And going from this environment where everybody was eating and drinking all the time and not exercising to a full support system around living healthy. So that's a true lifestyle change. So when we talk about making changes, what most people need to look for, and I promise I'm going to get back to what you were saying about nutrition, is they need to look for a lifestyle evolution, right? So what 1-2 changes can I make now? And that can be removing sugar. That can be having 1 home-cooked meal a day. That can be anything that gets you moving in the right direction, but it needs to be something maintainable, something that you can work on for this month and make a habit. And you will be amazed how, James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, if you guys haven't read that, that's amazing. One little change, making it a habit. Then once that habit is set, that next change, holy shit, does it snowball and have astronomical results, right? Because ultimately, if you want a different output, you need a different input. So nutrition is the best, easiest place to start, which is not to say it is easy. It is the easiest, right? Because food, people love to say food is fuel, but food is love, man. When someone is mourning, what do? We bring them food. When we're celebrating with someone, what do? We have a cake. We bring them food. Food is love, and we all know there is such a thing as bad love, right? So if you could think about food that way.
That was one time in Thailand. It hasn't happened again.
Yeah. So if you could think about your food as Thailand love, then you might need to make some changes.
That needs to be a bumper sticker.
Well, people forget.
Or a T-shirt.
Health comes from the gut. It all starts from the gut too. Yeah, like you just said, health comes from the gut.
Bingo. Yes, sir. So many things. If you can fix mental health through the gut as well.
I don't disagree with that statement in any sense of the word. I completely agree with what you said.
There's some good Taiwan love.
Brandon, I want to be as respectful of your time. You've already gone over, so I know you're missing the family and whatnot, so I apologize for taking you away from them. My hetero life mate over here is going to give you the follow-on instructions.
At the end of any guest appearance, we give you a little bit of time. If we glossed over something, if you wish we would have asked you something and we didn't, it's your 2 minutes, your time to shine. We don't exactly time it, but
the floor is yours.
Yeah, sure, no problem. So, again, my name is Brandon Mancine. I've been a coach for over 20 years. Majority of what I do now is help parents get back into shape so they can be around for their kids and their grandkids. I get so much joy out of seeing people reach their goals. The way people's lives change. What is great is we'll talk about empowering goals, wanting to run a 5K, 10K Spartan race. Again, I talk about hiking the Grand Canyon, all that good stuff, climb mountains, whatever it is the person wants to do. I once had an elderly widow. She wanted to get back to ballroom dancing like she used to do with her husband before he passed. And seeing her She didn't place, and that's okay. But seeing her get out there and be able to compete in ballroom dancing, it was fantastic. And I know the other things that happen. The more energy they feel, the more time they get with their family. But when they come back and tell me about that, man, it is so much more than a paycheck. But yeah, on Instagram, Coach Brandon Mancini or BMF Coach, you can find me there, and love to see how I can be of service.
I'm just curious. One last thing. Is that BMF Coach? That's kind of your name. What does that mean altogether?
Brandon Mancini Fitness. So yeah, I didn't even think about it. So my logo is BMF, and it's kind of in the shape of an eagle. And I was just thinking, Brandon Mancini Fitness, how can I draw that out? And I drew it out one day, and someone was like, "Oh yeah, bad motherfucker." I was like, "Oh yeah." I was so into like just the creative of how do I fit it into a logo. I didn't make the connection.
I'm sure everybody believes that story.
Yeah, that's the way I'll take it for you too.
I'll take it.
Sounds rehearsed. Sounds
Hey,
real rehearsed.
If you have time for one more small segment, do you have time for just a few more minutes? So we're coming towards the end here. We finish. Well, almost finish. We're gonna another segment, but we try to towards the end of the show do the weekly safety briefing. So when you were in the military on Fridays before you got cut loose, you got end of the week safety brief. Don't add to the population, don't subtract. You remember all that shit.
Yep.
Well, here, because our show is on Monday, we give the weekly safety briefing. So yeah, and got to get you through the week. So we like to have each guest give us one of their safety tips for the week. If you got one, throw it out for the audience. He's thinking.
I mean, yeah, keep your finger straighten off the trigger until you're ready to fire.
Ooh, that is a good one.
I like it.
Yeah, we haven't had that one yet. Good call on your part.
My wife and I are going
I got my safety right here. Exactly right. You got one?
I think we should let Tyler go next.
Oh, good call. Good call. Seth is a very vain person who truly cares about what your body looks like. Jay Sonis. Thanks, Jay.
Sorry, he spelled vain. V-E-I-N.
V-E-I-A, exactly.
Thank you for making fun of him. He's just a stupid Navy guy. It's not his fault.
Yeah, what a dick, huh? Nobody likes that guy. Anyway.
Weekly safety tips?
Yeah, go for it. What you got, Doc?
Don't eat the old snow, obviously.
Well, I mean, kind of hard right this second, but that is a good one. Oh, yeah. Watch where you get your water from. Drink upstream.
Yeah. I'm sure drink upstream. Yeah, don't fall off ladders. That's never a good thing.
That sounds like a good one. You got anything good?
Every time I get one, I like listen to somebody else's and I forget mine. I'm gonna go.
All right. Mine is keep the rubber side down, folks. Slow your ass down. So there was a bunch of motorcycle events this past week, and a couple people dropped it. Go ahead, Brandon. What you got?
I want to change mine. Don't text and drive.
Oh, I like that.
When I was on my run today, I saw 3 people texting and driving through a school zone. I wanted to throw rocks at their cars. I couldn't find any rocks.
Don't let the law stop you. This is a free nation. Throw that rock.
My finger was about ready to get back on the trigger.
It's all serious note. If you're coming home, kicking your dog, screaming at your old lady because you hate your fucking job, you need to fix your mental health or quit your fucking job and do something you enjoy. I bet you the guy we have on right now will support that.
Yeah, I bet he would too. Brandon, I can't thank you enough for being a part of the show. Thank you for taking time away from your family. I know your time is precious. So thank you so much for being a part of From the Ashes on About Face Radio. And we look forward to having you back at some point in the very near future.
Yes, sir. Thank you, fellas.
Thanks a lot for being a part of the show. That was a good guess. I like that. That's kind of shit's near and dear to my heart. What? So physical fitness, obviously, right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I should have asked him, and not that we didn't have time, I just didn't want to interrupt because he was speaking very well. I was asking what he does for the mental training aspect, because to me, physical fitness, obviously it's physical, but 50% of the game is half mental, or whatever the quote is from Yogi Berra. So if you don't have your mind right, you're not going to do well physically. So
that's that. Well, yeah, you're exactly.
I want to ask him about that, and it's too late now. That's all right. Next time.
I mean, we can have him back one sometime if you want to come back out to the super secret location.
Well, now that I know, I'm just coming whenever I want, right?
Well, you still have a guest badge, but I mean,
You gotta be careful.
Yeah.
There's a sign when you turn that says dead end. That has 2 meanings.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I haven't heard that before.
You
That's
heard me
pretty
say that
yeah.
one before?
So Seth and I talked all week about the show and what we're going to change, what we're going to do. And he brought to my attention that we have neglected something that is very important to us here on the show. We haven't done a Never Forgotten in quite some time, and we wanted to bring that back. Looking good, Rob. Looking lean. Well, thank you, Jay.
I was going to say, you should talk about you asked about nutrition.
Mhm.
You want to talk about what you told me last time you came to the office?
You brought to my attention intermittent fasting, and yeah, I have lost 45 pounds because of your guidance. So thank you very much for your support
You're
and your
welcome.
help.
I'm proud of you.
I'm proud to call you my doc. So yeah, thanks, doc.
All right,
So Never Forgotten, ladies and gentlemen, it's very important to us here on this show to remember those that came before us and those that gave their lives in service to their nation. I have a teacher in my college class, one of my professors. And one of the first things she said to me after class one day is, I'm a Gold Star mom. And I wanted to bring attention to her son. So a Marine who enlisted right after his graduation from John Campbell Catholic High School in 1998 was remembered for his desires to make a difference in Iraq, where he was second tour of duty was killed by a sniper. Marine Sergeant Nicholas Walsh, age 26, was shot on May 26 while in Fallujah while out on patrol. He wanted to be there. He felt like he was doing something important, said his mother, Maggie Hall Walsh. He used to tell me that nobody talks of the good things going on there, but he saw it in the faces of the people, in the waves and their smiles. He was prepared. He was ready to go. He knew the stakes. She said he was a proud Marine. Walsh is the son of Jerry Walsh, a former INS special agent in Birmingham and a former Birmingham news reporter, Maggie Hill Walsh, who raised Walsh since she married her father when he was 5 years old. They now live in Fort Collins, Colorado. He was a nice kid that turned into a great man. The biggest thing I want people to know is these kids, and they are kids, they're not just numbers. They're someone's son. They're someone's daughter, someone's husband, or someone's wife. That's important for us to remember. There are people who are just doing what they think is right. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you put your hands together tonight, when you drop to your knees before you put your head on the pillow, please remember Sergeant Nicholas Walsh and keep him and his family in your thoughts and prayers. That is very, very important to us. He gave his life on May 26th of 2007 in Fallujah, Iraq. And that is our Never Forgotten for the evening. You got anything else before we kick these people to the curb?
Looks like we have 1 minute.
We do have a minute. What do you want to do with
Folks,
it?
don't remember, if you want the greatest shorts on earth, go to thighhuggers.com. Enter in the coupon code, all caps, no space, one shot. You're going to get 30% off, and the nonprofit's going to get a kickback. Okay, so you get a discount. Nonprofit gets a little bit. So go to Thigh Huggers.
Yep.
Awesome shorts. Awesome shorts. Oh,
Did you
sorry,
pick
Rob.
these shorts for a reason tonight?
I'm walking off because my job is now done.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget Combat Flip Flops as well. Go to combatflipflops.com. Enter the code ABOUTFACE. You will get 30% off of your order, and we get 15% of that order. So, yeah, support what we do. And, yeah, Dr. Tyler Gaines, thank you so much for being a part of the show. Fuck the VA. And, yeah, thanks for being here. We really appreciate your time here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks a lot for your time tonight. Have a great rest of your evening, and thank you for being a part of From the Ashes on About Face Media.